today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Tech Social. My name is Gabby. I'm a business analyst here at Cogent. We have Edgar here with us, as always, as our moderator. He's a director on digital transformation at Cogent as well. And we have two speakers today. For the first time, we have Byron and we have Fawzi. They will have a chance to introduce themselves in a bit, and we will get to know a little bit more about them and their background. And today's topic, as I was saying, is the future of collaborative human AI-centered design. We're going to talk about trends and challenges. Thanks again for being here. If you have any questions, you can leave them on the chat. You can also raise your hand. We can take your questions. And then Edgar, over to you.
Thank you, Gabby. Yeah, so we were discussing a few minutes earlier, right, how special this session is. And in particular, we have the opportunity to see these topics on AI from a different angle. Normally, we get all on the business side, but this time we get the opportunity to see it from a researcher point of view. And also, you know, there's going to be a lot of good questions and fantastic answers here today. So real quick about human and AI interaction, just as a quick summary, we are talking about a field where we're exploring the collaboration, competition, conflict, and symbiosis of AI with the human activity. And we will explore much more about that today. So that being said, I welcome once again Byron and Fawzi. Thank you guys for being here with us today. And over to you. Perhaps Byron, if you want to start, please tell us a bit more about yourself, and then we can also go with Fawzi and get started from there.
Yeah, for sure. So hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Happy to be here. My name is Byron, and I'm super excited to be talking about the future of AI and collaboration. So right now, I'm a lecturer in the HCI department in the Luddy School of Informatics at Indiana University. And here is, in my mind, I get to shape the next generation of HCI experts. And we get to explore, I guess, this fascinating intersection between humans and technology. A lot of my research background has delved into this complex relationship between privacy, technology, social justice. And in terms of this talk, I really believe that human-centered design is crucial for a future where AI empowers rather than marginalizes. So I'm really happy to be here and conversate with you guys today.
Thank you, Byron. And now, Fawzi, can you help us with your introduction as well, please?
Yeah, hello, everybody. My name is Fawzi BenMessaoud. I'm actually a professor of AI and informatics at Indiana University, Luddy School of Informatics, Computing and Engineering. So my AI experience goes a long back to 1985 with my first job. Actually, I started actually in a robotic application of AI, and that was back in 1985, like I said. And then I left on to do intelligence work, and that's a human intelligence, and then software development. And then in the last few years brought me back to the AI field, given the rise of modern AI, where now everything is becoming, like Byron said, everything is becoming more about the application of AI between humans and machines. And so we're marching into an age where AI is here to stay, and it's actually becoming pretty much at some point even part of everything that we do. So in that sense, our future is pretty much in what kind of relationship are we going to have with the AI tools that we create, with the AI technology that we create. Like Gabby said, technology is as good as what we can use it for, or so is AI. And AI is just a form of technology. It's just happened to be a technology that can learn and is capable of learning now versus the old style of learning. So I'm excited to be in this, to share with you guys here. And
All right, thank you so much, Fawzi. Actually, I think it's amazing that you had the opportunity to start way before, right? All of the current hype, and for sure, all of that experience that you guys have accumulated will help us understand better how this is going to work in the future, right? So what do you think if we start with possibly the question that most of us have at this point, right? That with all of these announcements that we see every day and all the things that we see that AI can do now, right? That previously were thought that were only part of human capabilities. So what do you think? Is it true that AI can take our jobs, and how will that happen if that is the case, or why not?
Well, I'll give my insight and I'll let Fawzi bring in his expertise too.
Mhm.
I think that concern is like really understandable, right? And it's a real good conversation, and it's a real good topic that you bring up. But I believe the narrative of AI replacing humans is a little bit simplistic, right? So the future of work, right, in my opinion, is not about humans versus AI. It's about humans with AI, right? It's about collaboration, augmentation, not just replacement, right? So if you think about it, like a lot of the jobs involve repetitive, tedious tasks that are not only efficient, they're not really efficient for humans, but a lot of the times those tasks can be, in a sense, demotivating, right? And these are these precise tasks that an AI can excel at, right? So if an AI can come in and automate these routines, these aspects of work, the AI can free up human workers to focus on what they do best: create, problem solve, think strategically, make complex decisions. So instead of like people viewing AI as that's this destroyer that's going to come through and take everybody's job, we should see it as a tool. Like Fozzie mentioned, it's a tool that enhances human capabilities.
Yeah. Well, I think from my point of view, it's all about AI itself, uh, as we're saying, being a technology. But mainly right now, AI is performing three functions, and it's being used in three things that relate to any industry, any type of organization, any type of any type of job environment, etc., will apply. And that is, it's about insight, us trying to extract insight from data, whether it's old data, new data, collected data, etc., or converged data, etc., so we can make decisions. The second one where AI is also being used is in the user experience. So to help us, for example, using natural language understanding so a doctor can understand what the patient said because they don't speak the same language, or using natural language processing or even computer vision so a mute can have a voice and can communicate. Okay, so that's a user experience to that will where AI is enhancing. And third is when it comes to efficiency and effectiveness, and again, that applies to any type of organization in any sort of industry. And that is done by through automation or through taking actually understanding every single workflow, the tasks and the roles, and then the functions of the humans, and then apply some digital workforce to it. Or that's where I think where a lot of people are scared about. Okay, if AI can perform all these three functions, especially in automation, then they're scared about, of course, jobs being replaced. That is true to a certain extent. Okay. So a lot of jobs are already disappearing if they're not, and some more jobs will disappear, but a lot of jobs also will change. And the way they change is through this human AI collaboration, meaning that as long as there's a need for a human to be in the loop, because AI does not reason like a human. For example, AI is still not capable of, determining whether this is ethical or whether this is good for all humans or not good for all humans, etc. And then the human in the loop will still have to be there. And also the collaboration between the human and the AI to perform all the three, whether to extract intelligence to make decision or whether to actually make somebody's job better in terms of user experience, no matter what type of stakeholder they are in that organization, or whether to bring in efficiencies so you can have more production or you can have more standardized things. That because AI, for example, don't make mistakes, but if they're trained to one make mistake, when you automate something, You go from, one human may piss off or may actually act a certain, let's say, in a biased way toward one customers or few customers a day. If that seeps into your automation, and then you will be very much, you'll be biased against every, thousands of people in a matter of a few seconds. And that's the difference. And this is again why I think jobs will change. A lot of jobs, of course, like I said, will disappear, but us learning again to start to collaborate and leverage AI is what matters.
Yeah. And I think another thing is like people are probably wondering like how do we navigate this transition? And I think two key thing is upskilling and reskilling, right? So it's really important that we invest in education and training programs that equip individuals with the skills that they need to thrive in the age of AI. So there won't be a situation where you feel like your job is threatened. And gives you some context. Like there should be a focus on skills that are uniquely human, like creativity, critical thinking, communication. Point that Fawzi made about bias. So, empathy, right? And also by embracing this collaborative approach and also investing in human capital, we can ensure that just like the industrial revolution that we had brought on new jobs, this AI revolution is going to bring on new jobs that's going to benefit everyone and create a future where humans and AI can work together to achieve way more than they could have alone without, the one or the other.
I think that's a great point, actually, Byron is making too, in the sense like, okay, the fear about the jobs that are disappearing, and maybe there's a fear about not being able to do a job now that requires the use of AI, comes down to literally three competences that have so many different skills built into them that has to be taught, and they have to be not just taught academically, but also even at the organizational level, okay, and retraining their people. Everybody is going to have to buy into the fact that now, because it's a human AI interaction, a human AI collaboration, it's all becoming about intelligent data skills, meaning that, learning to work with AI to create data or create data for AI. Intelligent design skills, learning to use AI to design something or you're designing something for AI. Or intelligent human skills, which is at the heart of this human AI interaction, whether you're learning how to prompt a model to give you a good answer or to build something, etc., or learning how to actually have a better ethical decision making and so forth. So I think it all coming down to these three competencies: intelligent design skills, intelligent human skills, and intelligent data skills. And that will help with, again, the transition into this world of human AI collaboration world.
All right. Actually, I'm always doing some notes, making some notes, and so far I already, can see a lot of value in what we have been discussing, right? For example, something that I hadn't seen before was that this interaction between doctors and patients can actually happen in different languages and still work. In that kind of thing, it's something that, in spite of being, reading and hearing about AI a lot, that was something that was not there in my mind. So thank you for that. And speaking about how we are, having these three functions of AI, right, in the job environment, do you guys envision any kind of, for example, device that we can carry around and, actually help us, excuse me, in all of these different points, like extracting these insights from data, or actually helping us communicate better with this natural language kind of thing, or achieve more efficiency, more automation, even, I don't know, getting insights in real time? Is that something that we can foresee for this AI human interaction in the future, or how do you see that happening moving forward?
I think what I advise my students or even people that ask me if I do talks, etc., there's a couple of things here. Number one is learn the human AI interaction, and that is based and founded on prompt engineering or intelligent prompting. You being able to communicate reasoning to an AI, and also, for example, a human being able to describe either step by step or give the AI the reasoning that is needed to create to give a good answer, for example. That's what that's what we need to focus on. The second one is AI. Right now, most people just refer to GPTs, but AI is not just large models. There's, hundreds of AI tools that are being created. So it's becoming a matter of us humans selecting like an AI toolbox or having an AI toolbox. And that applies to any function. It doesn't matter if you're a student, if you're a doctor, if you're even if you're a priest for that matter. Okay. It's coming down to the use of AI tools where you need to build an AI toolbox and decide which tool will help you better in that collaboration with AI to do your job or to live your life. Because it's not just about doing a job, even about, for example, selecting the show or about things that we do in a daily life. Okay, whether it has to do with going somewhere, doing a vacation, or even eating out, et cetera, et cetera. So even our daily living can be actually much better with an interaction with AI, not just a job.
Okay. Yes, Fawzi. Byron, would you like to add anything to that, or I can move to the next question?
I think Fawzi cleared that up. I think he said exactly what I was gonna say. Like, you have all of these different tools. It just depends on, like, you have to find the correct tool that fits whatever context that you're working in. So I think he answered it in a way that I would.
All right, that's great. Actually, you also kind of responded to the question that I was going to ask next when you were saying about upskilling and reskilling, right? And for that matter, I also read through the documents that you sent about education in AI, right, to support the education. So what's your vision there? I mean, like right now, in my experience, what I have seen is, for example, back in school, we used to have books and we used to have the internet, right? But sometimes we were at one particular class, and if you didn't understand some particular topic, even after you asked for a couple of times, right? Sometimes you just get the question for yourself and kind of didn't know what to do next, pretty much, right? Because the education, the way it works normally is that there's a group of people and everyone has like their own way of learning, and then sometimes it just happens, right? But for example, with AI, what I discovered is that sometimes you can have a book, you can be reading, and then if you have questions, right, you can actually perhaps take a picture and ask the AI about it. And if you don't understand it the first time, you can ask an unlimited number of times until you finally get the knowledge that you needed. So how do you see education evolving in that way? And for this matter in particular, right, we are talking about reskilling pretty much everyone in the world, right? And that's a huge task. So is AI something that can help us in that particular task?
I think so. And it also, it also goes on to how it's being used, right? I think it does this in reinforcement learning, right? In this personalized potential of AI, right? So the ability to interact with learning materials in a dynamic, iterative way is like you mentioned, taking a picture of a page and asking the AI for clarification. That's a game changer, right? I think that really addresses this fundamental challenge that we also have in education, right? This one size fits all approach, right? This education system where everybody comes to the class and they sit in a desk and do things the same way. But everyone learns differently. Everyone learns at their own pace. And they also have their own unique set of questions. So the benefit that AI brings to the table is it has the potential to prioritize the learning journey in a way that has never been done before, right? So imagine like say you have a student that's struggling with the concept of math. It may be a particular topic in math, right? And with math, um, you have to know every single basic component in order to advance, right? So, uh, you know, and sometimes instead of like rereading the textbook or passively listening to a lecture, um, the student can interact with an AI tutor that can provide these more customized explanations, different examples, and even identify specific areas where the student is struggling and focus solely on that area, right? So this kind of personalization and feedback, I think, in my opinion, is incredibly powerful, and it can dramatically improve learning outcomes. And you're also right, you're spot on about reskilling, right? The rapid development of AI and automation is transforming the job market, and reskilling is no longer an option, it's a necessity. So AI really plays a really crucial role in that process. So, with this ability to personalize training programs, identify skill gaps, these virtual mentors to guide learners through the reskilling journey. Um, think of AI platforms that analyze an individual's skills and then recommends personalized learning pathways to acquire skills for on-demand jobs. That's a really big thing. So, um, and it's not about like acquiring skills. Like, yeah, it has the ability to transform a lot of things, um, but it's going to require these uniquely human skills, right? Like creativity, critical thinking, communication, empathy. So, an AI can help us also develop those skills. So I think, we're in a really good time. And I mean, I was telling somebody the other day, um, I was like one of the last group of people that had to work on a dissertation without an AI, without the assist from AI.
Mhm.
So most of the stuff that I had to do manually can be automated now. And it's not, and I don't want, and I try to tell my students, don't look at AI as a replacement for your thinking, use it as a tool, right? And use it as a tool to effectively help you deal with some of those monotonous tasks and get some of those done while you can focus on the creative aspect of whatever your work is doing.
Mhm. Okay, that sounds great. So I have a question also for Fawzi, and perhaps he also wants to add to this. But when we speak about skills, right? At a certain point, as Byron was mentioning, it used to be everything like manual and everything coming from ourselves directly, right? So in this new era, what is it going to be? Do we really need to learn one particular skill in depth, and to what extent? In how much AI can really, help us in this learning and applying for different skills?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to skills, like I said, there's three actually grouping of skills that fall under, for example, intelligent design skills. Okay, that's about mind mapping, for example. That's also about designing user experience or user interface. That's also about understanding what's behind how to make a process, for example, design a process better, etc. Uh, Intelligent data skills. That's about like, okay, selecting the right data, how to organize, how to, for example, curate that data, or how to actually visualize that data, etc. These are all also different skills, but they fall under, again, that intelligent data skills. Um, Intelligent human skills. Here we're talking about the ability not just to interact with the AI through prompting, but also the ability to, for example, make ethical decisions, for example, or the ability to in to have that relation, or to have that interaction between an AI system versus the need of the humans. So I think it comes down, and going back to education here, and what we should, it's becoming two things, okay? It's not just about what we teach, the AI that we teach, it's also the AI that should be used for teaching and learning. And to me, I think fundamentally, this is when a lot of people struggle with this. Many universities is like, okay, should we let our students, for example, use generative tools? Okay, because there's generative tool for just about anything, whether for coding, writing, doing biology, doing even music, or even arts and science now for doing video, for etc. There is a generative tool that will. So it's becoming a matter of okay, how actually using how we will have this, not just our students, but both students and teacher use the AI tools to make them more intelligent and not to make them dumber or lazier, because AI is a technology like any other technology. And like any other technology, it does have, a lot of things with unintended consequences, as well as a lot of things that could go wrong. Meaning, like any other technology, it can be used for good, but it also can be misused and abused. In the
Mhm.
case of education, it can be misused and abused where the students become dumber instead of become more intelligent. Why? Is
Mhm.
because they pretty much, they just use a generative tool to do their work. And this is where, again, education will have to shift to creating a type of education that requires the human AI collaboration interaction to solve a problems, not just to give it to a generative tool and then turn in that as an answer to your professor.
Yeah.
Same thing for professors too, or teachers, not just like use the generative tool to do things that they should be doing so they get to know, so they can actually observe better learning outcomes or lead to better learning outcomes.
Mhm. Mhm. Actually,
Um,
my
Point.
one. Oh,
oh,
yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, one point that I want to make too is like, while there is potential there, there has to be a key to unlock that potential, and that key is access, right? Um, we need to ensure that everyone, regardless of their background, location, has access to these personalized learning tools. And that's going to require like bridging this gap between the digital divide. We still have this gap where everybody doesn't have adequate access to affordable internet and devices to use these type of tools. And it also is going to require developing a lot of AI powered learning platforms that are available to people with disabilities. And as Fawzi mentioned earlier, those that speak different languages. That's the only way we're going to get the full potential out of this. And also using these systems in an ethical way where you're not relying solely on artificial intelligence, but you're also relying on actual intelligence to do things.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes, I'll come back to some points that you mentioned because I think that's going to be very interesting. But before that, Gabby, you want to say something, right?
yes, I actually wanted to go back to something that we have been saying a lot. How can AI be designed to challenge our biases instead of reinforce them? Because I have seen, for example, many like hiring algorithms that have been found to favor some demographics over others, because they have been trained off like historical data on that company. Let's say that, for example, for technical roles, that company has been hire men for so long, and then the algorithm may favor male candidates and things like that. So how can we ensure that AI is actively correcting these biases instead of amplifying them?
Yeah. So that's actually a very good question, but also it has to do with because for AI, like us for human too, it's all about learning. Okay. It just happened that AI learn only through instructions right now. Okay, and this who's providing the instructions, who's providing the training data, for AI to learn is a human. So anytime these instructions, whether it's through the form of algorithm or through the form or also the data sets or the data that's being used to train the AI, that still remains human. So there's bias, for example, or even some misinformation, or even some things that things that end up being part of what the AI model learns. comes from the human, comes from human instructions. So in order for AI to challenge us about something like bias, for example, unless AI learns what it means to be biased, unless AI learns, it becomes aware of bias, for example, at whatever level or in whatever context you're talking about, AI is not going to challenge us. And again, and I think that becomes then, if in a much more complex question, can AI learn the meaning of bias so AI can stop bias or can be aware at least of it so it will not perform in a biased way? Or, it'll always, be just, it'll always be fair, etc. Uh, that comes down, like I said, to AI learning by experience instead of learning by instructions. So if we get to the point where we can get AI learn to experience, for example, bias and know the meaning and be aware of bias, it will challenge the humans when it detects bias. Until then, unless we pay attention to the training data and to the instruction and algorithm and make sure to use data handling techniques so we minimize the bias or eliminating bias 100% is never going to happen. There's too much to ask, but at least minimize bias, and then we can have more responsible AI. And that also has to do with education. I think that's something that in what we educate in AI should be also focused on the type of either ethical AI, not either, both actually, ethical AI and the ethics of AI. Teaching explainable AI, teaching responsible AI should be part of the education of AI as well.
And what about like bias audits or like fairness check? Is that in place currently in these companies, like ethical regulations and things like that?
Yeah, so that's a countermeasure for bias, where there are some models. I actually I was trying to trying to experience with that a little bit myself. And can you have a model that can detect bias? Okay, in order to actually then go back and tweak your model so it will perform with less bias. So I'm sure there's all kind of attempts in all the AI developers, or at least those that are responsible, those that believe in responsible AI and ethical AI, that they are working on identifying ways to minimize bias.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere where researchers are right now working on methods to detect bias during the training process, actually, and adjust the AI's learning accordingly. So, but doing this, it might involve a lot of techniques like adversarial training. I think this is where the AI is specifically trained to recognize and reset biased inputs. Um, One more thing too that needs to be done, we need to understand how the AI is making the decisions, right? So right now, AI is this black box. Right? So it gives you output, but you don't know why it gave you the output that it did. So we need to integrate this concept, and it's called explainable AI. And explainable AI basically it plays a crucial role here because it provides insights into factors that are influencing the output. So if developers can incorporate explainable AI, can see that the AI is making decisions based on biased factors, then a developer can come in and take those steps to improve it. And that human oversight and feedback is vital, right? AI systems should not be deployed without being reviewed completely by a human, right? And that's why we keep going back to this concept of human in the loop, right? Because we need the human in the loop to evaluate the AI's performance and identify signs of bias. So user feedback is really crucial. And we need people from diverse backgrounds that can provide valuable insights into how the AI is behaving in these real world scenarios, like you mentioned, Gabby, with the jobs, to help us identify bias that we may have missed. Because if the typical person that's developing it doesn't really understand the bias, you need someone from a background that understands that and can help a developer recognize how they're training the model and get rid of those biases that exist.
Mm-hmm. Wow. This is amazing. All right, so let me go back real quick to this point that I noted down about being dumber or lazier while using AI, right? Um, as I was saying, I think my wife told me the other day that there's actually there starts to be some studies in the fact that people are, really lowering their cognitive effort whenever they are using AI, and the impact that that has, like, in the long term, right? So how can we exercise ourselves, right? So that's not something that happens when you are interacting with AI, in the you actually use it the right way, let's say.
Yeah, so that goes down to again, or goes back to AI being a technology, and
Mhm.
dependency is one of the things that comes from technology, or reliance, total reliance and dependency, which then we abdicate, for example, our ability to process things now because you have an AI that's going to process that for you. What does that do to your processing power? Or we abdicate, for example, solving problems through an AI. What does that do to our problem solving techniques then, or problem solving skills, etc.? Yeah, I think that's a concern. That's actually a very, very valid and crucial concern, in the sense that, again, we should be looking at how AI can make us more intelligent in using, so it's responsible use of AI, not just responsible AI in the creation, in creating AI, like creating AI, with minimum bias, but it's also responsible use of AI. This is, I think, it's going to have to be, this is probably going to be a much bigger problem as more and more humans become dependent on in the use of AI, especially in the education sector or in some other fields too, where you don't want that reliance on AI to replace the human ability to make the decision. Um, so yeah, it's a tough one. Like I said, I keep telling my students, for example, I don't, I want you to use AI, but I want you to use AI to make you smarter, not dumber, or not, not become lazy. Okay. And the only way to do that is then to force them to learn through activities that still will require their human input, still require them using their personal or their own processing power or thinking power, and not relying on AI tool to do that. And that's a challenge. I think just recently somebody said, well, I can't keep I can't, I catch my students using AI to write this, and what good is that? What are they learning? Okay. So he's gonna looking for tools to, keep catching them. So his role becomes more like a monitor at a police. He's going to spend a lot of time policing what the students are turning in to find out if they use AI or not. And that's not very productive for both, because no matter what, for every AI tool that recognize the use of AI, there'll be an AI tool that will actually reverse that. So, for example, take your writing and make it more human. So, an AI tool will not detect that was generated by AI. And so it's a never winning proposition. You see. So I said, you only if you make your assignments, make it personal, for example, relatable, where they have to relate to it, make it a real world learning activity, and also that require them actually being immersed in using AI. They can use an AI, but they will use an AI to solve the problem together, or to give an answer, or to put together an answer, rather than just depend on AI to give them an answer.
Yeah. And Edgar, you made me really think about something like takes me back to like this idea of the calculator, right? And using the calculator for every simple math problem. Eventually, your mental math skills are going to decline if you do that. So, it's important that there are we be mindful and find ways to balance the benefits of AI assistance, and also maintain and also develop newer cognitive skills. I think one thing um, is this mindful engagement with AI. And I was having a conversation with someone about this recently. So some people go into, like, for example, with these large language models like ChatGPT, you'll go in and you'll ask it for an answer, and you blindly accept the AI's recommendations. I think we should actively engage in the information that it's providing us, right? So this means questioning its assumptions, right? Evaluating its reasoning, and comparing its suggestions with our own personal judgment. It's about treating AI as a tool to augment our thinking and not just replace it. And another approach is to incorporate deliberative practice into the use of using an AI tool, right? Just as we practice like physical skills to improve them, we can practice cognitive skills. And this might lead us into a situation where we eventually choose to perform some tasks without the AI's assistance, even if it's less efficient. For example, relying on an AI to plan your schedule. You could just try planning it yourself, and then using the AI to refine it. I think that's what I do. I try to, in my writing and my teaching, I try to use my cognitive effort to do things, and then I'll give it to the AI or the large language model, whatever system that I'm using, and I'll say, hey, give me some feedback on this. And if I don't like the feedback, I tell it, hey, I don't like that. I think we should do that. So, it's also, I think that just the main important thing is to recognize cognitive offloading isn't really that bad. In some cases, it can free up a lot of mental resources to focus on like more complex things. But the key is like trying to strike the right balance between relying on the AI and exercising our own cognitive abilities. And I think that just has to be a personal thing that people have to see and understand, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. And actually, there's like a phrase floating around that says that AI is only as good as the person using it, right? So that really, yeah. So that really makes a lot of sense, right? You really need to develop and be able to interact with it. So in a way that is really positive, so you can actually create value out of it, right? And finally, before moving to another point, right? I also think that, for example, here in Mexico, where I'm based out of, sometimes we see people in restaurants or in different places. Basically, their children, many of them are all the time looking at their phone, right? And I'm bringing this point because we are saying that in the future, the things that will be making a difference for us in terms of the value that we can add to jobs or to other activities, right, will come from our human skills. But the fact of seeing these kind of interactions currently is that are these devices actually diminishing our skills as humans, right? And if that's going to be the value added that we can provide in the future, then what will happen to that value if we are all into devices and using AI for pretty much everything all the time, right? So just wanted to mention that it's, as you said, important, as you guys said, important having this responsible use of AI devices, and also having our own mental exercise, if you will, preferably every day. So we can actually point to a brighter future instead of a dumber one, if we can say so. So that's just one idea that I had there. Yeah. Okay. So
that's a good point. Sorry.
Yes.
I was going to say that's a good point in the sense like, okay, it's not the device actually, it's the use of the device. And that goes with AI too. It's because it's a technology. It's only as good as how we use it and what you use it for.
Correct. Yes, I agree. 100%. Okay, so my next question is about this field, right, of researching this human and AI interaction. So I'm wondering, what kind of research are you guys currently running in what kind of aspects are there that are important for regular folks like us to understand about it, and how we can improve and to know more about that field?
Byron, you want to go?
Ozzy, you want to take a shot at it? Or
sure.
I can.
Yeah. So
I think, yeah.
go ahead.
I think the first thing is to, like, it's important for the public, everybody listening, everybody watching, is to understand AI research and some of the implications that are associated with it. Like, so AI research is incredibly broad, spans from a lot of different areas. Some research is focused on developing more robust and AI algorithms, while others are sort of exploring new applications in AI fields like healthcare, education, environmental science. There's also this growing field on ethical considerations in AI. And these are just some of the topics that we talk about in our class, including like issues like bias, fairness, transparency, accountability. And also there's a lot of research on the future of AI. And I'm gonna in basketball, they say throw a lob. I'm gonna throw a lob to Fawzi so he could talk more about this. But there's a lot of research happening on the future of AI, including like topics like agentic systems, or I think RGI, artificial general intelligence, and the societal impact. Now, one area of research that I'm particularly interested um, in the topic of this podcast is this human AI interaction. So how do we design AI systems that are not only intelligent, but intuitive, trustworthy, and easy to use? And I think this really involves how humans think, learn, and interact with technology, and then using that knowledge to design an AI system that is truly human-centered, right? So this type of research is really essential for ensuring that AI is a tool that empowers people and doesn't alienate them. Fozzie can talk more on the agentic AI because I think that's a really cool, and he's actually implementing this in some of the courses that we're teaching.
Yeah. So my research even a long time ago, and more than 25 years ago, was about learning systems. Now, given that the future of AI is not in the generative large models per se, but rather in what we're calling now agentic AI, or basically the creation of AI agents that are capable of reaching a level of autonomy where they can do more, even get to the point where they can learn to experience learning. That's, I think, what I've been, my research is in that. In fact, recently I'm trying to get my AI agent that I use for my classes, because while I encourage the use of AI, I don't want, for example, my students to use GPT. It doesn't matter if it's Gemini, OpenAI, Chat, GPT, or even the new DeepSeek, etc. I want my students to use the AI agent that learned from me what I know exactly about my course and what is actually that my course is about, etc. So it can respond and give them the proper answer or the correct answer, or how to complete a learning activity, or how to understand something that I cover in my class, in a way that eliminates any possibility for misinformation or disinformation or hallucination for that matter. So I think from a research perspective, yes, it's looking at the next level of AI agents, and not just one agent, but multiple agents. Recently, I've been working on a project that involves the hierarchical AI agent system, meaning getting a bunch of agents working together, where each one of them, for example, the good thing about agent is that you can make them very task specific. So if the human know what is the task, what is the goal behind the task, and you can actually define that and provide enough metadata about that task, then you can transfer that. You can give that, or you can not. I guess it will be transfer to an AI agent to learn to perform that task. And then having multiple AI agents learning to perform this task almost to 100% level, would actually at some point get us to leverage a lot of things that are, whether it's a generative AI, such as large models, for example, or leveraging other AI tools, or even other AI technology. Because we're at the age where we can have an AI agent that can interface, for example, Let's say take the AI agent that I have and that I use. Okay, it can interface with my TV. It can interface with my phone. It can interface with my security system. It can interface with my if I happen to have a smart bed or I have a smart refrigerator, etc. Now, all of a sudden, you've got an AI agent that can help you manage your own Internet of Things that you have at home, for example. That to me is what I'm interested in from a research perspective or from an application more than just research. And this is where I think we're moving toward a world where we can use autonomous AI agents to do specific things or to work together to accomplish better things or to help us accomplish better things. Now, sure, some people will say, "Oh, well, what about what about the humans? They're going to be replaced by these AI agents. They are the sun going to be able to perform, task 100%, meet any regulation, meet any compliance, do it without do it 100% all the time, not like humans, because we're limited by our biology, by our chemistry, by our physical, and we're limited by time as we grow older and physically, etc. All these limitations." That I think, okay, that leads actually to another topic, perhaps for another day, because that's an impact. But moving forward, at least, like I said, what I'm trying to work on and what I'm interested in what I think the future we're headed to is, especially if we're going to reach general artificial intelligence or super intelligence, it's going to be in us creating AI agents that are capable of experiencing the learning and learn to learn, not just depend on us. Of course, we have to make sure to do that in a responsible way and not lose control of that, because the danger, of course, is that we may lose control of that. If we create an AI agent that, for example, becomes aware of, let's say, fair and unfair, he may choose to be unfair instead of being fair. And that's always going to be a danger.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that comes a little bit more towards science fiction and what we have seen in movies, maybe. But very interesting point, actually, that it can actually decide. It knows, right? But it decides not to do the right thing. And that's something I never thought of before. But that's intriguing and very interesting thought. So thank you for sharing that. Also, we have been talking about explainable, right? AI and how we can really understand what is happening. And I think that has a lot to do also with decision making, right? So if at one point we encountered that one particular decision was not made correctly, we also want to understand why. And I think that also has a lot to do with the trust that people can give to AI systems. So what is your take there? Do you think people are really trusting AI, or are we doing that blindly at this point? What shall we do to actually, boost the adoption of AI and the trust that we can give to these systems that are being created at the moment?
I think that's a really insightful point that you make about like AI knowing the right thing, but also like we mentioned taking the wrong path. But it also like really highlights this crucial distinction, right? AI can be intelligent without necessarily being wise or ethical, right? Just because an AI can process information and make predictions doesn't mean it should inherently understand like these different, I guess you could say, nuances of human value or context or long-term consequences of his actions. So I think that's, why human oversight and ethical frameworks are essential. In terms of trust, that's a really complex issue, right? You got one side where people are naturally skeptical of AI, while others are perhaps a little bit too trusting. I think the level of trust often depends on the specific application and the individual's experience with that particular AI tool. For example, people might be more willing to trust AI for tasks like Netflix, like a recommendation system on Netflix, like recommending movies, or Amazon like uses the AI to recommend products. But it might be people might be less willing to trust it with decisions related to healthcare, or maybe things like finance, right? So um but one factor, and we talk about this a lot, and you brought it up, is explainability. Explainable AI is crucial for building trust in an AI system. If someone understands how an AI system arrived at a particular decision, I think they'll more than likely be able to trust it if they don't fully agree with it, right? So conversely, if the AI is this black box and we don't understand its reasoning, it's a lot harder to trust it, especially when the decision has a lot of significant um, consequences. And explainable AI, even with explainable AI, trust isn't this thing that's going to be automatic, right? People need to see evidence with the AI system and need to be able to know that it's reliable and it's accurate. So if the AI makes mistakes, especially those mistakes that have negative consequences, that trust that a person has in it can be eroded. That's why rigorous testing and validation is really important. And I think also, moreover, trust in AI is about perceived control. And I think that's with any system. People want to feel like they have some control over the AI system, especially when those systems are making a lot of decisions that affect them. And bringing this back, this is where the human in the loop concept comes in, giving people the ability to review and override decisions. I think those are things that can enhance trust. So that trust aspect and building trust is a continuous process. I think it requires a lot of technical advancements in areas like explainable AI, and AI safety, but also this ongoing dialogue and engagement with the public as we are doing here. We need to be transparent about the capabilities of AI, but also the limitations of AI. And we need to think about ways that we can address people concerns and anxieties around this in order to build more trust in these types of systems so we can see the full potential of AI while making sure that it's used in a ethical and responsible way.
Mhm. Okay,
I think one thing
amazing.
quickly I would say about trust in AI, quickly, for the sake of time, of course, trust in AI is a human factor, like with any technology. In fact, if we ask the audience, how many of you will go to sleep in an autonomous car? Probably most of us will say, no, hell no, I'm not gonna, go to sleep and let the AI drive just completely. And that has not changed much because again, AI is a technology. We trust the technology that we know very well. And since we still don't know so much about AI, whether because it's not explainable or whether because there's a danger or whether because it's built by humans, okay? And as a humans, okay, we're not perfect. So to me, I think my trust in AI, I trust AI as much as I can see if there's less human in the design of AI. So the day where I have my AI agent create another agent, I will trust the agent that was created by my AI agent more than I'll trust the AI agent that I created myself.
All right. Yeah, actually, that you mentioned this autonomous AI driven car. I've been dreaming about it, given the transit situation in Mexico City for quite some time. But now that you mentioned it, I think it over again. So let's see. Let's see if I will use it or not. But anyhow, thank you for that. All right. I think we are there in terms of time, but this session has been just amazing. Thank you so much, guys, for being here with us today. And I'll pass it over for some final comments. And if you could also share with us a couple of resources, or maybe after the call, so we can also put them there on the YouTube, channel, where we can learn more, right? And that would be great. And my recommendation definitely for people to join the programs that you guys are leading. That would be also something amazing if anyone can do that. But please go ahead and let us know your any closing comments and any recommendations for learning more. Thank you.
I think my overall comment about is to keep up with the development of AI. First of all, try to find the right tool for you to use as an AI tool that applies to you in learning about AI and then learning to use AI. Number two is to try to find yourself a very reputable or verifiable source of information about AI, so you're not getting some disinformation or you're not getting some misinformation. With that, I mean, there's quite a few out there that will actually give you the news, for example, or the latest development in AI, things about the different tools in AI, etc. That also very helpful in if you're, if that's what I mean, if that's what you're trying to use, or you're looking at upskill and to use AI in your job or in your daily life.
Yeah, my final thoughts is, obviously AI is enormous, and it's in a situation where it's revolutionizing industries, improving healthcare, and actually addressing some of the world's most pressing problems. But I think keeping up to speed with those things by reading AI reports, um, and actually like going to these like reports, and OpenAI actually has a blog too that people can go to and kind of see like what are the advancements and what are the new things that are coming out, because I think the typical layman doesn't, they typically think of AI as a large language model like a GPT where you go in and it answers these questions, but the landscape is a lot bigger than that. So, YouTube channels definitely just increasing, your knowledge. And even this idea of prompt engineering is really a big thing, right? So, people, if they have a unique ability to communicate with the AI, that's a potential for employment opportunity. Like prompt engineers are on the rise. I think Fawzi is actually teaching a course or a lecture on prompt engineering. That's one of those things that, like, if you really have a really good knack of actually telling the AI specific instructions, that's a job opportunity. But regardless of if AI is of what it's doing and solving all of these problems, it's going to be really crucial that we approach this transition thoughtfully and responsibly, and prioritizing human well-being and ensuring that these powerful technologies are used to benefit people and not hurt people.
Thank you, Byron. Gabby?
No, I just want to thank you both, Byron, Fawzi. It's been great, very insightful, one of my favorites for sure. Thank you for wanting to participate in this. Thanks the audience. Thank you, Edgar. And then again, I want to extend the invite whenever you're in Michigan to join this Beer and Business event that they are doing over there. Just let me know. And for everyone in the audience, we are going to see you all next week with another session. Thank you again, and have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
everybody.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Oh,
you.
no problem. Did you need us to stay on for